It is playoff time in the NBA, NHL, baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet an automatic win. That's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And our ticket today comes from Bobby Rhodes. He turned $20 into $99.45 for the Orioles money line, the Rays money line, and the Braves money line. The Royals money line was voided.
Nice. Hell of a win for Bobby Rhodes. I think that was the Adam the Bull special, by the way, that he hit on. Bull gave out a pick on his podcast. Bobby bet it. Hit it. So congratulations to Bobby Rhodes for winning a FanDuel bet. Make sure you send us your FanDuel bets, and we'll get them involved in the show in the coming days. Tyvis, let's start with some words that Denzel Ward had on Tuesday when he was speaking to the media at the second day of OTAs. He was asked about the importance of keeping the DB trio of Denzel, Greg Newsome, and Martin Emerson Jr. together, and why, in his opinion, the Browns should prioritize keeping those three intact. And three of the quote from Denzel on that.
Yeah, I've got it right here. It's very important. I mean that was one of the things I've kind of been openly sharing. Like, I want to keep us together. I feel like AB says all the time, you can never have enough great corners and enough corners on the team.
So, Tyvis, in a realistic world, should the Browns try and do everything in their power to keep that DB trio together for the long-term future?
Listen, obviously I'm a little biased because I played the corner position, but it's also a fact. If you have good DB play, you always want to keep those guys, unless you are for sure certain that the next guy that you're bringing in can be that productive. Like the one thing I give Greg Newsome a lot of credit on is this was a guy who was drafted to be cornerback number 2 for this team, and he got kind of forced into this nickel role, and for a little bit, he hated it, but now he's learned to embrace it, and he's gotten better at it. He's made some plays out of there. So I respect him for, transitioning, because it's not an easy transition to go from all of that space to being inside like that. It's a totally different ball game. But he's embraced it, and he was productive. I mean, he had 14 PBUs and 2 picks, which is very good for him. I think, obviously, I believe that they're going to take care of MJ Emerson. He's not the guy that anybody's concerned about. It's always about G. New. And this is the part that gets me. This is the part that gets me. If they pick up his 5th-year option, that's $13.3 million. Slot corners, I think Kenny Moore is is a top guy. Everybody knows who Kenny Moore is. I think he's making $10 million.
It'd be a very high salary.
Exactly. So where are they going to find this fine line at? Like, okay, do you take this 5th-year option and then extend him for more years to try to bring that number down over like 3 or 4 years? Maybe that's the way you can do it. But if you feel like Cam Mitchell can do that, or you feel like you can get another one and he could be productive and he can make more plays on the ball where he gets interceptions, then I guess you go for that. But right now I think G. New brings that energy. G. New is a guy that can play inside and outside, and G. New is still a guy that when Denzel goes down for those 1, 2, or 3 games that he misses, nobody blinks an eye because he is very productive out there. He can get you through a game. So that's why I think he's very valuable to this team. And if I was the Browns, I would try to keep him because, like AB's right, corners, you got good corners, you want to keep good corners. As you know, this is a passing league. Everybody wants to pass. Everybody puts their best player sometime inside the slot, and you need a guy that you can trust to get that job done. Playing inside is not that easy, and G. New has been productive there.
We spent a lot of time talking about Greg Newsome, haven't we?
A ton.
Yeah.
A ton.
It's been like the hot topic for the past couple of weeks. I was talking to Tony yesterday, Tony Grossi. He was on my podcast, and he was talking about, he was like, I wouldn't be shocked if on draft day somebody picks up the phone and somebody don't get the corner that they want,
right,
and then they pick up the phone and say, hey, we'll give you such and such for G. New, and he gets dealt. I was like, actually a possibility, actually. If somebody don't get the corner that they want, and you look at G. New as a guy who, has been productive in here. He knows how to play. He's adjusted to the speed of the game. He is a CB2 that can also slide inside. Somebody might pick up the phone and take that, and I'm sure the Browns might listen.
Valuable.
Yeah.
It surprises me how much time we've spent on the third corner on the slot corner. And I get it, I guess, a little bit. We said a couple weeks ago, they're going to pick up the option. I think they pick it up just out of the because you asked him to do something that he wasn't comfortable doing, so you reward him with the option. Doesn't mean you have to keep him.
Yeah.
You know, you can still trade him and pick up the option now and trade him a year from now. But you know, he's a security blanket right now to make sure that Cam Mitchell's for real. Like, right, you got to see it again out of Cam. And if Cam Mitchell is the real deal at slot, well then, yeah, you probably do look at to move Greg. And if somebody wows them at the draft this year, then sure, that's a possibility.
You don't think it's funny? Like, the Browns operate in a way that if you're not really paying attention, you'll miss it. But see, me, I can see what's going on. Two examples on this Browns roster right now that tells me that they're looking to move on from a veteran guy. When they drafted Cam Mitchell from Northwestern, all right, G-New, we got you your little brother, teach him up, get him right, all right? And then last year, we're going to go get Jerry Jeudy. You're going to get your idol, Amari Cooper, teach him up, get him right, and then boom. Like it, to me, I know people like, oh, they would never do that.
It's a business.
I'm telling you, like, they go get somebody that you, like, buddy with. You don't see it like, oh, that's my brother. So if I do leave, if they do move on from me, this my little brother. Like, I want him to at least shine, and I'll be cool with that. Like, that's the way it looks to me.
Smart.
It is smart. Do you see it though? Like, it's two examples on this roster with them. Yeah. And when they got Cam Mitchell from Northwestern, G-New was so excited. Oh, this is my boy. He's good. And Cam Mitchell actually played nickel. Then they went and got Jeudy. Oh, who's his idol? Amari Cooper. Yeah. I grew up idolizing Amari Cooper. They both went to bed. It's just funny to me. It's very ironic.
We have spent a ton of time talking about Greg Newsome, but I think that's almost a testament to how good and secure the rest of the roster is. That there are only so many guys really have long-term questions. That we spoke about JOK on Tuesday, whether or not the Browns will extend him. I think in a perfect world, of course you keep this trio together. Yeah. There's three really good cornerbacks. The reality is, at some point, you have to pick and choose which guys you can and can't pay because you can't pay everybody. And if you're going to pay Newsome, they're going to pick up the fifth-year option. I'm not worried about that. And if they do, both Emerson and Newsome's contracts would expire after the 2025 season. So they'd both be due at the same time. Do you give one early? Do you give Emerson the extension early? Well, if you do, all right, that Newsome money's for either for Newsome or JOK. Or is it for bringing back a Nick Chubb or re-signing Ethan Pochich? Or where do you get that money from? And if there's one thing we learned about Andrew Berry during his time as the Browns GM, he's really good at evaluating and identifying talent in the defensive back room. Whether it's been Newsome or Emerson or Cam Mitchell, who we all really like. Hell, they found Ronnie Hickman as an undrafted free agent who came in and was able to succeed. If there's any position group I'm comfortable with Andrew Berry trying to replace via draft picks, especially in the later rounds, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, it is that defensive back, cornerback position because his hit rate there has been so good. So I would love to keep Greg Newsome in a perfect world. I would love to keep all three of them together. I just don't know if it's financially realistic to do so when everyone else needs to get paid too. And if there's a position I think they can replenish via the draft, it is that DB room, Davis.
Well, another thing to look at is Denzel. Look at Denzel in this aspect. Denzel's pretty much a solidified piece. I don't think they're ever going to really try to move off of Denzel.
They already restructured his deal.
Exactly. Until his age catch-ups to him and he's not as effective. So another thing to look at, what about this? If they've been really good, say that the Cam Mitchell thing is, we don't know. But if you so happen to check OTAs, pay attention to OTAs this year. If you so happen to just hear about Denzel taking some slot corner reps, I wouldn't be shocked if they draft another outside guy. I mean, I did see that they had brought in some kid from Mississippi State. Where was Martin Emerson from?
Mississippi State.
So they had brought some
DeCorian Richardson.
Yeah, some guy from Mississippi State, 6'2", 210 or something like that corner. So I'm just saying, you know, if Denzel so happen, if he can handle the corner position or the slot nickel position as well.
Can I ask you a question about that, though?
You can always say, when we go nickel, Denzel slide down.
A guy like Denzel, who's so good on the outside, would you want to transition him to the slot? Or do you feel so comfortable in what you have in a guy like Denzel, who's a legitimate lockdown, put him on an island, you feel good about it? Like, would you want to sacrifice that for a potential rookie? I mean,
so let me put it to you in a player's perspective, okay? If I'm a lockdown outside and I sign for $100 million, how much you think they'd pay me if I can check my dude no matter where he goes, inside or outside? I could be effective inside and outside.
125.
Okay. So if that's the case, if you want to be truly if you want to truly be like the best, like I want to be known as the best corner in this game. Stephon Gilmore was a guy who did it. Gilly the Kid, he did it all the time. Well, no matter where that guy went, he was checking them, whether it's inside or outside. What happened with that? He won DPOY. So I think if you truly want to be seen, Jalen Ramsey was another guy. He plays inside and outside. If you truly want to be that guy and be known as the best corner in this game, you have to have the ability to be able to play inside as well. Because if your guy goes in there and we're a heavy man team, we play man a lot. If I need you to check your dude inside, I don't want you to be like, well, I don't go inside. Like, you got to be able to play inside and outside. So if Denzel needs another challenge for himself, if he wants to elevate his game a little bit more, because he's already at the top of his game. But if you want to elevate it a little bit more, like that Mamba mentality that Kobe said, you want to go further, go inside. I think you have all the athleticism. You're athletic enough, you're fast enough, you're quick enough. You can handle anything. You tackle very well. You can handle the inside easily. You just have to get more reps at it.
Denzel tackles well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're the pro. Like, I'm not.
Denzel is.
I wouldn't put that at the top of his
Denzel
list.
He tackles well for a corner.
Okay. He's gotten game reps at slot.
Has he?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I've noticed early in games before, I'm like, well, that's where they were
Especially
just kind of.
2 years ago, right?
I don't remember now.
last
I
year.
remember it was early in the year. I don't remember which year it was, where I had the
I'll look it
binoculars out and thought,
I know last year during OTAs when I went to practice, he was practicing what it was like to be in the slot. They was working on communications. They was working on stacks and bunches. And we get a stack, how will we play these things if I'm in the slot? So it's definitely something that he's been more open to, I
Yeah.
can tell.
is there any, and I just thought of this could be really bad. There could be nothing to this at all. Do you see any comparison between if they did try to move on from Greg Newsome to slide Cam Mitchell in there, and Cam does have a year of experience, that's why I'm not sure this is apples to apples, to what they did with Josh Dobbs when they moved on from Dobbs, the backup quarterback, to get the extra pick, thinking they were okay, and then it came back to bite them? Is there any correlation there at all?
Because it's always, as a general manager, you always move on from a guy a year too early rather than a year too late.
Yeah.
So if that is this year, that's what you're supposed to do. By the book, that's what you're supposed to do.
That was the Bill
move on a
Belichick
year early than a
motto,
year
yeah.
too late. Because
Right.
a year too late, you're not going to get nothing for him. And like I say, if the draft comes around and guys don't get the corner that they want, Greg Newsome is a solid cornerback too in this league.
Yes.
Like like I say, he has that versatility. That's something that you don't just get out of the draft like that. You always have to work and let these young guys get a year under their belts, and then towards the end of the year they start to take off. And you're like, all right, we got us a CB2. But that guy right there is ready to go. So if you willing to give up something, second, third round pick, which might be a little bit high, but teams get desperate around this time, I think the Browns would listen to that offer.
I'd be surprised if they moved Newsome at this point of the season, I'll be honest. Now, we saw Cam Mitchell play, and especially against Chicago, I thought he played very well. Like he showed out when he had an opportunity, made the big tackle on Justin Fields on 4th down. But I'm not sure we saw enough from the coverage standpoint in Cam Mitchell to feel confident that he could step in and replace Greg Newsome in this defensive scheme where you need those guys to cover one-on-one.
I agree.
Man coverage to allow the defensive front to get the pressure that Jim Schwartz needs. So it's definitely a risky proposition moving on for him. He is probably their most valuable trade asset. That's a realistic piece. But I'm not quite sure that I'm willing to cut bait on that yet.
Yeah, I'm not. Let me get on the record. I want to keep all three of them forever. I don't want to trade no corner because I'm just selfish like that. So I don't think they should move on unless y'all are just extremely that comfortable. Like in blowout games, maybe work Cam Mitchell in there and see what he can do. But it's to go 17 games on somebody and then plus a playoff run, that's a lot for a guy that's just dibbled and dabbled with it a little bit.